Hey everyone, how you doing? So, Battle for Neighborville is a very unique PVZ game. Wow, tell me something that I don't know. Joking aside, I think we all know this, considering how this is pretty much the black sheep of the franchise for multiple reasons. But with that being said, one of the more interesting reasons for that is the ditching of the variant system from the first two shooter games, being replaced by the upgrade system. And now that I've said that, I think you know where I'm going with this. So with that being said, here's the thing, and here's some obscure PVZ trivia. BFN had so many cut upgrades, and in today's video, we're going to be covering as many of these as possible. Oh, and before this video begins, if you'd like to discuss BFN with other people, then the Floral Federation Discord server might just be for you. Check it out if you're interested. Shameless plug. But anyways, let's get right into it. We'll start with some of these smaller upgrades, the ones that clearly were nowhere near being finished. There's not even footage for most of these, so just bear with me here. We'll also go into order of the wikis, so that makes things easier. By the way, this is the new wiki website, check it out. So anyways, let's quickly run through these. Going into order of the roster, we'll start with P-Shooter, who has 3 unused and 1 beta upgrade. The first increased P-Soup's movement speed by 150%, the second acted like you're playing the Garden Warfare games by reducing the damage you took in P-Gatling, the third launched 3 beam bombs when you use the beam bomb ability, and the beta upgrade is for Beam Party, which did nothing. This one's mysterious, not sure what's up with it. Chomper also has 4 upgrades, with these being Chomp Explosion, an upgrade that gave the Chomp attack an explosion that knocked away enemies and dealt 35 damage, not broken at all. Gashag, which increased the projectile speed and direct hit damage of Grody Goop, and 2 unnamed upgrades, one that gave Chomper some HP back for burrow kills, and the other one that gave Chomper a magazine whenever he trapped an enemy with Spikeweed, whatever that means. Korn has 2 very unfinished upgrades, with neither of them doing anything, and only one of them having any remote indication on what it could have possibly been. Weird. Nightcap has 2 unnamed upgrades, one of which reduced the cooldown on Feng Fu by 3 seconds for each elimination you earned with it, and the other supposedly modifying the movement speed of Shadow Sneak. Oh, and as for this Uber, it gave Nightcap an extra jump. Neat. Snapdragon has 1, and it was supposed to modify the projectile shape displacement of his primary, which isn't a thing. Oh, okay then. Cactus has a named upgrade here, Extra Mines, which, take a guess what it did, you won't believe it. And as for the other upgrade, this increased her movement speed with Pedal Propeller by 900%. Oh my god, that's kind of crazy. Citron has 2 unnamed upgrades, one of which fully healed him if he earned a Vanquish with Spin Dash, and the other increases movement speed with Naval Laser by 500%. Wow, these were clearly test upgrades, oh my god. Acorn had 2, which, interestingly enough, tied into a cut mechanic from early on in BFN's development called Confidence. I may discuss this and more of early BFN in the future, but this did nothing when it was found in the game initially, and we don't really know what it was to this day. So yeah, neat trivia, but it's kind of pointless. Sunflower has 2 unnamed upgrades, one of which increased Sunbeam's damage, and the other increased the heal rate of Heal Beam, and it also made it shoot out max overhealth stun droplets. I sincerely hope this was for testing purposes only. Oh god. And to round out the plants, Rose has 2 upgrades that make her ability's area of effect larger, and 1 upgrade called Uber. Again, this one buffed Arcane Enigma to the moon, with it now gaining almost like heavy helper buffs. That's actually a really neat idea. I'm kind of amazed that a more balanced version of this didn't make it into the final product. That would have given me a reason to play Rose. Moving on to the zombies, Foot Soldier starts with a named upgrade, Carbine Rounds. I've talked about this one in the past, but basically this upgrade was made during a time period where BFN still had drop-off damage, and this upgrade made Foot Soldiers a little more forgiving. Yeah, can you imagine how this game would feel with drop-off? It's kind of insane to think about. Oh, and as for the other 3 upgrades, they're mostly just cooldown reduction and stuff. I don't care, to be honest. Imp has 2 unnamed upgrades, one of which made the Z-Mech's Missile Madness ability fire way quicker if the mech was heavily damaged, and the other doubled Gravity Grenade's projectile speed. Neat stuff. Super Brains had an upgrade called Clay Pigeon, which made enemies stay in the air for longer if they were affected by Hyper Jump Thump, which is a really cool idea, to be honest. And as for the other 3, the only one of note is this middle upgrade, which I personally believe was reworked into Fallback Plan, an upgrade that does the exact same thing for a different ability. 80s has a few unnamed upgrades, and these are all... Okay, you know what? I think we've gotten to the point where you don't really care about most of these unnamed ones. So let's just run through the rest of the upgrades quickly. Electric Slide's most interesting unused upgrade is Larger Storm, which had no effect, but it's believed that it was going to increase the size of Disco Tornado. As if it wasn't big enough. Captain Deadbeard has one upgrade that increases the damage on Barrel Blast. Cool. All-Star has an Uber upgrade like a few others, and this one apparently affected Impunt, but we have no idea what it would have done. Space Cadet got a Gravity Smash upgrade that changed its damage output depending on how high she was from the ground, which is a really neat idea. Oh, and there's also a cooldown reduction upgrade for Big Bang Beam if it didn't hit anything, which on paper actually sounds kind of good. Scientist has an upgrade which gave him more wraps. Scientist has an upgrade which gave him more warps, and yet another upgrade called Uber which gave him more overhealth potential, both for the user and for the target. So basically just a better version of Cocoon. That's disgusting. And to round out the zombies, Engineer has a named upgrade called Jumpstart, which looks like it would have just worked like double time normally. And the other upgrade let the ability deal 25 damage. You know what? I'm not even gonna ask how that works. Oh, and also, we do have 3 general upgrades, one of which being an attacking class upgrade that increased fall off distance, and the other 2 being for support characters, one of which increasing the reviving range for a character, and the other that just doesn't do anything. So that was a lot, but those are all the smaller upgrades, the ones that don't really matter that much. But that's about half the fun here, because we have another interesting set of upgrades to look at, those being the Cut Legendary upgrades. Ooh, these are so interesting. So let's dive in. Pea-Shooter's Prime upgrade is first, and I've talked about this one in the past. Basically, this upgrade would have replaced Pea-Shooter's Primary with a volley of vinyls. Yes, you heard me right, vinyls. If you're not familiar with the context of why vinyls were chosen, it's because the Disco P outfits were associated with this upgrade. But since those didn't come out, you can imagine how this upgrade never came to be. Snapdragon has a weird weapon swap upgrade, where his primary is now Magma, and it just looks like it sprayed out of him like it was bad sushi. So yeah, not much else to say. The gameplay here kind of speaks for itself. Citron has an upgrade that replaced his primary with one that's way closer to his Garden Warfare 2 one. Like with Snapdragon, the gameplay here speaks for itself, but I kind of like this. Acorn and Oak each got changes for their primaries, with Acorn getting a primary that just seems heavier. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. And Oak got a 6-round burst precision rifle upgrade, a 10-round burst rocket upgrade, and a shotgun upgrade? I have no idea why Oak got so many upgrades, or why they're so insane, but I'm assuming they were all for testing. Still weird. And then we have Foot Soldier. Oh, I've wanted to talk about this upgrade for so long. Okay, so story time with this particular character. Alright, I want to say around March of 2020, there was an upgrade for Foot Soldier that basically functioned like a weird cross between General Supremo, BFN Engineer, and Camo Ranger. Let me explain what that means. This upgrade initially had a cooldown bar, like characters such as All-Star. It also shot pretty strong projectiles that bounced across surfaces. It's weird. And this was only the first iteration. Later on down the line, that upgrade was removed from the files entirely and replaced by a new one, which looked like a laser that dealt a little less damage than regular Foot Soldier. It had a higher magazine size, but besides that, this was the entire upgrade. Now this one seemed less interesting, but it was also way more finished. So what happened? Well, it vanished. And that makes me really sad because this would have actually given people a legitimate reason to use Foot Soldier, and it was ruined. That sucks. Oh, and I guess last but not least, we have imp upgrades, one of which gave him a rocket gun, and the other spawned explosives on him whenever he shot it, whatever, I don't care. I'm sad about Soldier. Oh, and before we wrap up this video, there's just one more upgrade I want to discuss, which is a bit of an interesting tale, that being Bombing Run. So supposedly, this was the first legendary upgrade ever to be added to BFN. Sort of, kind of, maybe. In one of the December updates, 80's got a new upgrade that seems like it would have replaced his primary with rockets that he could control, I guess? I don't really know, the wording for this description throws me off a lot. But what you need to know is that the cost of the upgrade was 7 points. Oh, okay then. And with that being said, that's just about every cut and unused upgrade in BFN. Oh wow, that's a lot. Now we could have talked a little more about some of these smaller upgrades, but generally you get the idea here. But in any case, I want to hear your thoughts on these upgrades in the comments down below. I'm curious to see what you think of them. Also, I want to give a real quick shout out to Gravitry, Identity for Omens, and Wapfa for being $5 supporters of my channel. Thank you all so much, I really appreciate it. Now, as for me, I've got an upgrade of my own to make, so I'll see you all in my next video. Peace.